Hi, I am Victoria, I am Miss Nuttall, and today's topic is still quite in the line of the rest of the week. And no, I cannot record in any other moment, I'm so sorry, but after this, I have to work and I can't. I'm gonna have to balance things out. And yeah, it's gonna be a complicated Friday, but this is the only moment I have to do this, and I would much rather not leave it pass. So yeah, sorry for the noise. Let's get into it. If you're wondering why it's a bit funky everything, that's because the camera is probably upside down. My phone, I put it differently to the other times, so the camera could be upside down to the other times. And because it's connected, I'm gonna have to use it for my job, so I have to use it like that. I really hope you can hear me. I really do, because it would be a tragic thing. But, well, rent is cheap. The whole thing of guilt is still going on because I realized about something else in a different thing. I got my washing machine and I was like, yay! I can wash without a bucket. I mean, I can use the bucket, but washing a sheet with a bucket, it's painful. Washing jeans in a bucket, it's painful. Like my muscles are like massive thanks to that. And it's something I'm very appreciative of. The gym, the free gym, I'm gonna have to start doing some workouts to overcompensate my lifestyle, my new lifestyle. And having a washing machine, even though it's semi-automatic, it's like, oh my god, it's like magic again. Oh, and it's something I'm very blessed and thankful for. But I cannot shake the feeling of feeling guilty of doing better. And this is something I was talking to with a friend of mine yesterday about. And she was like, congratulations on your new machine. And I was like, yeah. And then I realized, oh my God, the government made us really poor. Back in my grandparents' generation and my mom's generation was like, oh, your first car, your first house, your first this. We are settling with a new washing machine and not just a full automatic washing machine with semi-automatic one. It's like, I'm sorry, but we have been impoverished. Like really bad, really, really bad. And then another side of me, it's like, oh, but I'm doing so much better than everyone else. I'm like feeling guilty for that. And my friend Rebecca told me also wisely, yeah, it's gonna be difficult because you have been through the longest time on saving mode. And you have been working 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you have been saving, saving, saving. Now you're spending is a complete different change of situation. It's not a bad thing, but it's a change. And yeah, it is. And I'm scared, but at the same time, I know this is a time very specific in our history, in our financial history, because the government is about to go into election again in October, and it doesn't look good for them. So it doesn't really matter who's going to win, things are going to get nasty. And when it comes to devaluation and inflation, it's 100% inflation and probably more than that at this point, way more than that. Uh, you just know already. People, one of you in the comments asked me, how do you even do to buy things? You get used to it. You really get used to it. You just adapt. You just adapt and survive. You invest in the things that won't get rotten, like toilet paper, toothbrush, all of those things that won't get rotten. You buy them by the bulk and you just store them, and you just then Today I have a couple more of not wardrobes, but storage places where to put things, and it's mostly things that I've bought by the bulk. For example, I'm going to show you something. It just started again. One of the reasons why you always have to buy by the bulk, it's because not only it's cheaper, but it doesn't get rotten. But for example, at times, there will be times in which you cannot just simply get the product. For example, I got like, who knows how many of this. They are like the metal scrubby thingies, like the metal sponges, and I got like a dozen of them. But recently, not too long ago, I was visiting someone and I could overhear and someone else was talking and I was like, yeah, I'm trying to get all over the place the scrubby things, the metal scrubs, and I cannot get any single one of them. It's just impossible to get them. Or even if there is any in the any products in the market, the salesman is going to be like, I don't know if I can sell you this because I don't know the price of this. I don't know if I will be able to replace this. You know, just I might be at a loss at this point. So that's the thing with inflation. There are very sweet points in which you have to buy, and there are very sweet points in which you have to wait. And you just get used to it. You just dance with the way of the economy. And I know because of the way of the economy and the way of politics in my country that I have all the way up to October, maybe November. Then things are gonna get dramatic because we like telenovelas. We just like drama. So I know I'm like splurging, but at the same time I'm like but at the same time I'm feeling really guilty that I'm doing so much better than everyone else and why I'm not allowing myself to enjoy. But at the same time I know things are gonna get nasty in about 2 or 3 weeks. And even worse when it comes to Christmas. When it's around Christmas time, there's two types of inflation actually. There is the natural inflation that happens with devaluation and things like that, all that good jazz that everyone goes through, and the artificial inflation. That can happen for many reasons, political reasons, an attempt of good attempt. That's artificial sometimes. And yes, one technique some people use trying to knock down their opponent government is to artificially increase the prices of basic goods to ensure that people get riled up and just want to knock down the government. I have seen it. Weaponized inflation is something I have seen it. I swear for Jesus, just nasty. I've also seen it to justify their own political moves. I mean, there is a lot of political and artificial inflation at times, but the biggest artificial inflation I see, it's around December and March. December, it's Christmas time. March is the beginning of school period. So you're going to see a lot of artificial inflation at the time. Then there is a little bit of stagnation around these times of August, September, October. It's a little bit stagnant, therefore things are a little bit cheaper. And January and February tend to be also cheaper for certain things. For example, if I want to invest in blankets, I would buy them in January. No one is buying blankets in January. You know why? Because it's summer. I'm walking into spring right now. So there are certain rhythms you have to get to know when it comes to inflation. Right now that we're leaving winter, it would be a very good moment to buy blankets. It would be a very good moment to buy clothes in any store that are related to winter. But I did something better. I got myself a sewing machine. So yeah, I'm gonna try to experiment with that. But the problem is, this is the thing. There are rhythms, and there are rhythms, and there are rhythms. And the political rhythms determine very much the inflation in this country. That's the construction worker living for a little while. So that means I have a few minutes to speak in peace. But yeah, there is a sense of I'm overspending and I feel like I'm splurging, but at the same time I feel like oh my god, I can wash the sheets without breaking my arms. Yeah! But at the same time, I feel like guilty because I'm doing so much better. And I kind of feel this moment of guilt. I actually tried to, I don't know if I came across as if I was like being a show off to my friend. I mean, I didn't publish it on social media or anything, just to my friends. But even then, that can be complicated of showing off the things you buy. It's just like, I'm not trying to be like a show-offy. I'm not trying to just show off what I have. I'm just trying to celebrate something. It's just like, you know what I mean? It's that feeling of guilt because you're totally doing much better than everyone else. At least because, I mean, it's at least with your savings, and it's not a lot, but that can put you in an awkward position, and it's just annoying. It's just, yeah, it gives you feelings of guilt. I'm not gonna lie, it does. So yeah, guilt has been the topic of the week, and it's not something intentional. It's not something intentional, I swear for God. It's just that things are like that. And when it comes to inflation, well, I have very little time to do so much. And I have to get some basic other stuff and then get some other more stuff that are basic needs to ensure that even if things go south, I'm fine. That and because I'm also afraid of this whole new wave of excuses that people are trying to set, you know, a new 2020 situation again. And the 2020 situation lasted forever in my country. In my region in particular, lasted a very long time. So I'm very, very fearful of that. Because if I'm locked in my house, I kind of want to have some stuff, just like basic stuff. So yeah, I don't know. It's just, I'm going through a lot emotionally, and it's been a rough change for my psyche. But let's be realistic. It's just the way it is. There's so much you can do about it. And for example, I'm looking at the milks. There's two types of milk, principally, you can buy in my country. Principally. I mean, mainly. So, milk 101. This is a sachet. A sachet, it's a French word that means probably bag, I assume. You buy by the bag. It's 1 liter. And then you have tetrabric. Tetrabric, I think it's a Swedish technology. Yeah, I think it's Swedish technology. It's mostly like cardboard with aluminum, and it's like layers, and the thing is, with this system, you can store it for the longest of time. The expiration date on this milk in particular is March 1st of 2024. March 1st. So you can store it outside of your fridge for the longest of time. It's like canned food, essentially. This one, it's a lot cheaper. Well, depending on the brand. If we have the same brand, the sachet would be much cheaper, but it also lasts for less time. This one expires on the 13th of October of 2023. And you have to keep it cool. If you don't, you get spoiled milk. So you get bacteria. Not nice. So what's the issue? Usually that milk is cheaper. This is the same type of milk, also like canned. You can leave it for months on end. Now the thing is, even if you have the money to buy them, now this one, I remember I bought it at 440 pesos. That one I bought it at 410 pesos, the sachet leche, at one point. And this one I bought it at 414 pesos because it was on a moment of a sale. There are different brands. The better the quality of the milk, or the more recognized the brand, the more expensive it's going to be. There's also some type of milks who are deceitful, who are not actually milk. They are alimento en base a leche. They have recycled the milk so many times and they have diluted it so many times they no longer can legally call it milk because we have legal requirements of what you can call milk. So they call it anything, la vaquita. They call something the brand, and then later down you have to read. They cannot put the sign leche on top. They cannot do that. Legally, they cannot do that. That's the cheapest thing you can buy. That's nasty. But you can do that by accident. You have to read the fine print on the bottom to make sure it's milk. I'm sorry, I'm realizing how things are. It becomes natural to you after a while. So the thing is, it's not like they alert you that it has some resemblance to milk, the other thing, because of lactose intolerant people. That's it. That's out of legal reasons they tell you, but the bigger the quality, the bigger the shelf life. They're the same. The sachet brand, this brand, it's a bit more pricey. And if I wanted to buy a Tetabric format or a bottle format, which they have a fancy bottle format, they have also a Tetabric format, but if I wanted to buy the Tetabric format, it would be like 600, 700 pesos per liter. It would be a lot. It would be a lot pricier than this brand. So you can kind of do that game. But why have I bought milk? Because this is the thing. Even if you have the money, there are times in which you cannot find the milk. Like the other day, I had to get some cash out of the store. So when you go and buy to this specific store, you can, by buying something, you can actively ask for some cash if they have some, and from your virtual wallet, and it works like like a cash store. And this supermarket, they had this milk, which is a bit pricier, but they didn't have any sachet. So the thing is, even if you have the money, sometimes you cannot find the product. So that's the problem. And things go out of whack very quickly, very quickly, very quickly. And you also don't have to leave your money in the currency very much longer. I have seen reports of what's happening in China and banks and how people are not being allowed to extract more than a certain amount of money per day. We went through that. We called it a corralito. It broke down our economy in 2001. I remember it. We couldn't buy food because the government and the banks wouldn't let you get money out of your own system. So that's why I'm like spending right now, because I know that once the politics of the country are in a certain stage, even if I have the money, I may not have the ability to buy things. So I buy by the bulk milks of this kind, and then I buy sachet every time I find, and I consume the sachet first, and I leave this one's in dry space, away from the light. I don't know. It's just, and then I will consume them and ration them. You just get used to it. It's not like we can do anything about it. It doesn't really depend on us. And before you say, oh, you have to be Verta, I'm telling you, it doesn't really matter who's going to win this election. Things are going to go south. So you better prepare for that. At one point, it doesn't really matter what you vote, what you do. It's just going to go south. It's going to be different flavors of south, but it's going to go south. I mean, we're already on the south, so alrighty. I hope at least this has entertained you a little bit. And I know it sounds like I'm justifying myself with my overly splurging attitude, but the thing is, I have so very little time until now, October, the election periods on Sunday the 22nd, I think. Yeah, I think it's Sunday the 22nd. It's always on Sunday because it's everyone has to vote. So allegedly, everyone has to attend, and therefore it's always a Sunday. And the Day of the Mother, it's the weekend before that. So I have to do a lot in a very short time period, just in case, because I don't know what's going to happen. All I know is that a lot is going to happen, and I don't think I can handle a lot. So yeah, and after that, once you have already bought the big stuff like furniture and washing machines and all of that, the rest, keep your basic amounts of money to your daily necessities, and the rest try to keep it in a stronger currency. That's the truth. That's the trick. That's what we do. That's how we do it. So yeah, let me know what your advice or recommendations, other than leaving the country, because I don't know where to. If we think about it, where to now? It's just like it's not like things are much better around the globe. Things are looking like they're going to go south everywhere. I don't know. What is it? It's just where to now? What to do? And if you have any advice or any tips yourselves to survive inflation, yeah, let me know. Other than that, I hope at least I have entertained you or distract you for a little while. I'm so sorry for the noises before, and until next time, I wish you nothing but the best, and thank you so much for your time. Till next time, bye bye.